Hello, 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 and welcome to WJCM Radio. Today we're talking a little black history. Now I like to talk about the quarterbacks that came into the NFL with dreams of being a quarterback in the NFL. When most of those guys came out of college into the NFL, they were encouraged to change their position because the stigma was they weren't smart enough to play this game at the highest level. But then Warren Moon came into the league and he lit the league up with all kind of good numbers. But he never won a Super Bowl. So that was feeding that stigma that we are not smart enough to figure it out. And then along came Doug Williams. Now the Redskins, as they were known at that time, now known as the Commanders, gave Doug a chance. In the middle of the season when their quarterback went down, their Super Bowl dreams was on the line. So they gave the ball to Doug Williams. And Doug went on to win the last 3 games of the season. And that put them in Super Bowl 22. On January 31st, 1988, Doug went into that game. And in the first quarter, he was down 10-0. And I was watching that game and I was like, oh, come on, Doug. I was praying for the brothers to do well. We needed him to do well. Because John Elway came out in that first quarter and he just threw a bomb to his receiver. I don't know if it was a 40-yard or 45-yard bomb. I know it was a bomb. And his receiver came down with it in the end zone. 7 points on the board just like that. The game wasn't even 2 minutes old. And I was like, oh, it's going to be like that? And then the next series, when Doug came out there, he couldn't get his feet under him, so to speak. He couldn't move the ball. And then John Elway got the ball back again. And he marched his team down the field. And I was like, man, we got to do something. We got to stop John. I mean, it's going to be like that. He marched his team down the field. And the defense tightened up. So John Elway was held to a field goal. That made the score 10-0. And the whole first quarter, Redskins was down 10 points. But then that second quarter came, and history was made on the Commander's side. Doug Williams showed up and showed out. He threw for 4 touchdowns in 1 quarter. That was unheard of. Cuz. I mean, he went off 4 touchdowns in 1 quarter. And for the game, he threw 340 yards. When the game was over, Doug Williams had blew Denver out of the water. They won that game by 42-10. I say it again, 42-10. Redskins. He put that stigma to bed. He put it to bed. And then after that, Russell Wilson was the second black man to do that, win the Super Bowl. And now Jalen Hurts is the third. But that stigma now should be put to bed forever. But getting back to Doug Williams. Now, because he made history, don't you think that man's number should be retired? Don't you think nobody on the Commanders should be wearing number 17? I think that number belongs in the rafters. But I'm not surprised because when Doug won the Super Bowl, yeah, they gave him MVP, but they didn't have no choice. His play on the field demanded that. It demanded that. They couldn't deny him that. But then, I think his number should be in the rafters because history was made with that number. Number 17. He made history with that number. Nobody never on the Commanders should be wearing that team, that number. Radio family, that number belongs in the rafters. I mean, that's just my opinion. And that's my Black History story. Until the next time, radio family, be kind to one another.